Hey guys, I wanted to do a video kind of talking about I guess the evolution over the past couple of years of the Saddleback leather organizer bag and kind of, I don't know, share my thoughts for anyone who's curious. I got this many years ago. This I've used for pretty much storing electronics in when I travel. I've done cameras when I had to. Have a Lumix and could put like the camera body and then like a lens and maybe like a charger. It's kind of a tight fit. And what I normally do with it is I'll put all my chargers, charging blocks, cords, cables in here when I go. It's nice because it's kind of got this rigid thing. Even after all these years of using it, it's still just kind of on its own pretty rigid. This came with the Saddleback Leather Club, that 2023 first run. I did that, and they're great. Obviously, these a buckle, whereas this, you kind of wrap this leather cord around the whole thing, and this is a buckle, which is nice. And I don't use this one that much, but what I wanted to do, the appeal of having this one was when I travel and I brought my camera, I wanted something bigger than this one that would allow me to put the camera body in here and a bunch of lenses, maybe like a GoPro, like have all my camera stuff together. What I found though was that this was not rigid enough. The reason I really liked this, it turns out, is the leather, it seems like it's just better. It protects, it protects things better because it's a thicker, more rigid leather. Whereas if you watch the video on how they make this tumbled leather here, it's a lot more soft. It's just like, it just feels a lot more worn in. It's just floppier, I guess. So what I did was I just recently ordered the large leather organizer bag, the newer one, which is made out of this kind of non-tumbled leather, and now you have kind of the rigid thing going on. And I haven't used it, literally just came today. But it's got this kind of different cable thing going on, where you can, do here, sorry, I don't do it with my hands, but you can hold it like this. I think you can, I think the idea is you're able to do a lot of things with it. You can pull this thing through, this crack here. You can do all kinds of things. It's just got a knot on the end of it there, so you can undo that knot. And that's kind of what my plan is going to be. I think I'm going to undo this knot here and basically have it so that it's like this, because I like this kind of format here where you can just wrap it around, and that's what I'll do for this one. But I'm looking for the kind of rigid nature of this one to kind of protect the camera better. I actually have this one up for sale right now just because I don't like having too much stuff. But what I wanted to point out here was just kind of how the design has changed. If you look, this is a special, this is from the Saddleback Leather Club, so I'm not going to show you the up-to-date version of the regular one. If you look at the stitching here, the spacing is a lot smaller. Well, first of all, big obvious thing, right? It went from having two stitches, parallel to each other, one being the actual structural stitch, holding these two pieces of leather together, the other one's more aesthetic. Went from that down to just one. And if you notice, the spacing between holes is a lot smaller on this one. There's less material between them. And I don't know if I can capture this, but the thread on the older one seems a lot thicker than the new one here. Just something to kind of think about. The leather itself, it's hard to kind of capture, but I think this is just a hair thicker than the new. It's hard to tell, but I do believe, let's see if I can webcam work here. It's not much of a difference, but it does seem like this older one is just a tiny bit thicker, but not much. Still got Blue the dog on the front here. On this older one, the design was changed. I had a thread come loose here, and I just burned it off myself. I don't know why. I mean, there must have been some structural reason for changing it. If you notice the design of this, there's a seam here on the front, whereas this newer design gets rid of that and puts it on the back. Let's see if I can show this here. You can kind of see they moved the seam to the back of the bag. So I don't know why they did that, but I'm sure they had a reason. Here's kind of the joint there. And they did the double backing and burning there, whereas the joints are a little bit different. Yeah, so here's the back. Obviously they're going to have some aesthetic differences here. This one's a lot older, beat up. The cord they created here, this was just a strip of leather. Well, this is like it's folded over and stitched together. And then of course the newer logo, which I'm not a big fan of, but I like the older one here. Anyway, and then when you just compare all this to the Saddleback Club version, the tumbled leather, this of course has the buckle, which I do think is cool. If I were to keep this, and then since I'm keeping this one, I might punch one more hole into the strap here, just to be able to kind of really be tight with it. This one has the rivets, which is kind of cool. And it's riveted there, so it seems like a pretty strong option here. But again, this is the tumbled leather, just very soft and bendable and all that. So just some things to consider. You can tell right away, I mean, this just kind of deflates on its own. It sits flat, whereas this one, its own structure kind of holds it upright. So if you do need a little more protection for whatever you're holding these things, this is the way to go, which is again why I got it. So I'm surprised they don't have a video on exactly how you're supposed to work this strap here, the different ways to use it. I know just from by looking at it, you can do a couple things with it. Like I said, you can kind of close this thing down by sliding that D-ring through here, really make it secure, or I think you can do the wrapping thing like you do with this. So in that way, I think this is an improvement, because it gives you more options, and then you can kind of hold around like a purse like you saw. But it is kind of, I don't know, kind of a bummer that they went to the smaller stitching, the smaller thread, just because it seems like it's kind of the big standout thing for me in terms of, making it not quite as strong perhaps. I mean, this is an aesthetic thing here on the top. It's not anything structural, but the structural stuff, has that thinner thread, the tighter, holes between, or the tighter distance between the holes, which you might argue, I'm not a leather stitching expert, but so it's more stitches now that you have, per any given distance, but it's also less material. So yeah, I'll let the pros comment on that. It's just an observation. This to me it appears a little bit more robust, I guess, than this, but yeah, now some different options out there for you guys, depending on what your needs are. If you need something really soft, I can strap down find one of these. If you don't want to join the Saddleback Club, I see people trying to sell these things for like $300 or something nuts. I think that's ridiculous. This is not worth $300. Don't do that. But if you need something more rigid, get the non-tumbled version. And then you might try and find one a little bit older here that has, what appears to me to be a little bit stronger stitching, if that's your thing. Yeah, any questions you guys have, just leave in the comments. Hopefully I didn't make you too nauseous with my camera work here this time. And thanks for watching.